Hello and welcome to K-Stop, Fuse's K-Pop podcast. Hello everybody, this is Jeff, and per usual I am joined by the Zico to my B-Bomb, Tina Zhu.
Hey.
Hello everybody.
How is everyone doing this post-Halloween week?
Yes, hopefully you got your sugary treats, you wore an awesome G-Dragon costume, or
3 or 4 straight days of Halloween celebrating.
Personally, I'm exhausted. I couldn't even.
It was a long weekend.
I couldn't do it. I gotta be honest. I couldn't keep
How
up
did
with
your
it.
how'd your costume pan out?
The costume that I revealed exclusively on K-Stop.
After all that talk last week.
I thought it went off great. If you want to, you can check out. You can see all the photos on Instagram. Or I think I shared some on Twitter. You know, we always mention our Twitter on the show.
Jeff was flexing.
I was flexing,
literally flexing,
baby. Yeah. No, I was so proud of it. I was very happy with it.
It came together very well.
Thanks so much.
I liked it a lot.
Yes. I was considering wearing it because, CL was in town on Saturday.
That's right.
And I was considering wearing my costume too. I didn't end up wearing my costume. I ended up changing nearby.
That would have been hilarious.
If I showed up in my
what the security would have said.
Yeah.
And all that.
Well, there were a couple people. There are actually a good amount of people dressed up.
That's true. When it is Halloween weekend, they can't really see anything.
There were lots of Harley Quinns.
Was CL dressed up Halloweenish? Obviously not the stage outfits.
Well, it was the kickoff of the tour. Well, I guess I'll tell you guys a little about the tour. Yeah, it was the kickoff of the tour. I mean, I would describe her look as somewhat vampy. She had this long black latex jacket, which is really hot, and leather.
Okay, I was like,
one piece.
I guess you maybe can't always distinguish between whether it's just a stage look that was planned already or if she was just getting kind of festive.
Right. Well, and it also was the kickoff of the tour.
Right. So she had to take it up a notch.
No one knew if it was if she's planning to wear this for the rest of the tour.
Yeah.
But from what I can see, it looks like she had another date so far.
Yeah.
I think she wore it. She performed in Seattle last night on Halloween, and I wonder if she
went from New York to Seattle.
Yeah. Right. She's jet setting, man.
Not a very efficient route.
It's not a very efficient route, but it seemed like I'm not sure if she wore a costume or not, but yeah, it looked really. It was a pretty good show. Lots of, if you were a fan of 21, she played a lot of 21 songs. I don't know. It was so cool to see. It was sold out. It was at Hammerstein Ballroom. It was so cool to see. When she had the whole crowd singing Han Dul Set.
Oh, yeah.
Which is cool to just see an entire theater of, Americans screaming in Korean. And it was really cool, too. They showed this, unreleased video of the Hello Bitches song that I don't know why it hasn't been released. YG, Scooter Braun, whoever's holding this video up, release it. Because it was, the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, I love that song.
It had so many cool looks in it and all these. I'm like, why?
Right. I love the way it was shot. I love the production of it. I love what she was wearing. It was simple.
Oh, in the
but
dance
sexy,
video, right?
The dance version. Yeah,
they
I like
showed.
That one.
They showed a different video.
Was it
completely
drastically
new?
Different?
Yeah, it had costumes and
gosh.
And snakes were squiggling around her,
What?
and she was on these thrones. It was all these different looks.
It sounds very dark and regal and sexy.
Yes, it was very regal, very sexy. Oh my gosh, it was. I want the world to see this video because hopefully some fan will sneakily record it at the tour.
Yeah,
or
maybe
something.
with fan cams. It's probably on YouTube somewhere.
It's probably somewhere.
But yeah, I don't understand logistically how these decisions are made or why it's held, and I don't know.
But it was really cool, and so
awesome.
it was good part of Halloween weekend.
Yeah.
Did you have a good Halloween weekend?
Mine was chill. I actually didn't dress up.
Tina.
Not the most festive Halloween person.
Oh my gosh.
But I still went out, had fun.
Yes. Did your thing.
I had some candy. There's actually more candy now that it's the days following Halloween where everything's discounted. So now there's even more candy. It's just, and before you know it, it's Thanksgiving around the corner. So it is It's
fat season.
It's fat season, more or less. Yes.
My Halloween
watch yourself.
My Halloween diet is over. Just so everyone knows. I was talking to some of you.
We have a few weeks to I don't want to say starve ourselves, but be calorie conscious before
it all goes
the couple days where all you do is just eat yourself into a coma.
Yay! Can't wait. Yeah. But thanks so much as always for tuning into this episode. Last week's episode got such a great response. The numbers were really...
We had some passionate fans.
We had some passionate...
Tune into this
passionate responses. You know, we gotta say, or
pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, you know, there were a lot of fans, and you know, I hope everyone listened to what we were saying and our words, and
we appreciate you listening, whether you always agree with our opinions and feedback or not.
Yeah, and always know, you know, this is a show that was created to, you know, give real talk about, you know, K-pop, offer something different than the very, you know, in my opinion, very, you know, lots of times K-pop coverage is very safe, very clean, very, you know, nothing goes so deep in it. And that's why we have things like the deep cut section. And that's why we have things like, you know, just wanting to get more into the overall, you know, talk about what this means for certain artists' careers and things like that.
Yeah, and we just want to keep it real and authentic. Our intentions are never to solely bash, and we never want to come across as, you know, irrationally bashing an artist.
No, exactly. You know, and I think you guys would get bored too if we were, you know, not keeping it real and not, you know,
we give credit where it's due, and we'll call people out if we, you know, might not be on the same page, you know, creatively or whatever, aesthetically.
Yes.
But
yes, so
we appreciate you listening.
We always appreciate, no matter who you're a fan of or who you're not a fan of, we always appreciate you listening. And yes, we want to just emphasize that, yes, you guys can, you know, trust that we're not bashing, or we don't. I don't think we bash on the show, to be honest.
No.
I think, you know,
I might just be like naturally more of a negative person, but that's my problem.
And I might play off of Tina. But, you know, at the same time, we're just here to, you know, share, give some real talk, give some opinion, give you guys something entertaining to talk about, and listen to wherever you're listening to us from. So thanks as always for listening, no matter if you agree or not.
Of course, tweet us.
Tweet us, please. Tell us what you think. You know. We don't like abuse. We don't like being bashed personally either, but you know, so don't bash us. But at the same time, you know, we're just here simply to garner discussion, continue, you know, talking about K-pop in different lights, continue promoting this thing that we love and we're fans of, and you know, whether or not everything wows us is a very different story. So yeah. With that said, let's move ahead into who got our top comeback, or I guess I think it was all comebacks of last week's episode. As you remember, we discussed twice J Park and Hyorin, who all released awesome new stuff, and it's closer than actually I thought it was going to be, because I thought Twice honestly was just going to take it.
That's
but,
what I thought.
You know, they did end up getting number one with 50% of the votes. J Park came in a close second with 44% of the votes. And Hyorin pulled off a 6%. So yeah, I'm kind of, you know, there was a lot of passionate Twice fans. Shout out to the Twice fans. Twice shared our review and things like that. It's been a really...
And they just hit the YouTube record, or broke the YouTube record for quickest to 30 million. They beat BTS.
They broke so many records with this album. They I just read too that I think they had the best first week girl group sales, which means they beat Girls' Generation at their peak, which to me, I think as longtime K-pop fans, you know, just quick thing about Twice is that to us as longtime Girls' Generation, and I think so many K-pop fans would agree with this, that they're kind of this wall of you know, people, you know, they have so many female and male fans who are buying these albums and things like this. Twice somehow has tapped into that as well. And now they're on this very similar level despite being so new. You know, Girls' Generation earned those numbers much later in their careers after, you know, they're getting looks from America and Japan and whatnot.
I will say we are in even more of a viral culture now.
Yeah.
So that probably plays a bit into it.
Yeah, and if anything, it's almost indication that K-pop's just, stronger than ever,
Absolutely.
despite it being more of a digital world.
Right.
People are still buying these albums. So,
Right.
when you beat, records on YouTube, that inevitably is going to happen as YouTube gets more popular and things like that.
Right.
But to beat records of physical sales, I was astonished when I read that.
That is astonishing.
So
props to them.
Props to Twice.
The fans.
And Twice won our incredible poll. So I think, they're just killing it everywhere. So I'm very, very excited. I personally still can't stop listening. I think that song did getting my vote because it's so catchy. So,
yeah, I think I voted for Hyoring.
I think you did too.
She just dropped the J.Park collab.
Right. Everything's connected.
I dig that too.
And then
also very safe.
Really?
It's good. Like standard Hyoring and feel good stuff.
Before the full-fledged
which I'm really excited for, November 8th.
Yeah.
So hopefully next week we'll be talking about, Election Day. It's going to be a very eventful week in America.
Yeah. Hyorin's coming back and we'll have a new president. So
both on equal levels of importance. Come on.
Oh my gosh. Yes, exactly. So thanks so much everyone who voted in last week's episode and participated in last week's episode.
Yes.
But now let's look towards the future.
Yes.
Tina,
New
who is our first
I think we gotta kick it off with Blackpink. They come back with another double single release for their second project, Square 2, which is the follow-up to Square 1, their debut project.
Yes.
Which, of course, everyone knows Whistle killed it, Boom Baya killed it.
Yes.
And so they come back now with a little bit of a different side to them, at least on one of the songs. They come back with Playing with Fire and the song Stay. And I believe both songs are written and composed by, or written and produced by Teddy Park.
Yeah.
And they've been teasing this, and fans have been, super excited to see what can they show of themselves that we haven't seen yet, since both Whistle and Boom Baya were more of an upbeat kind of trendy sound. And I was very pleasantly surprised that they came out with something that was acoustic sounding and softer.
Yes.
Which was the song Stay.
Which you really like this song. You told me.
I like this song.
Yeah.
I like the lyrics more and I like the visuals more. Between the two songs, I think sonically at least, I think Playing with Fire is more kind of fine. It's mediocre. I'm just I wouldn't say it's title track material in my mind, but of course they didn't release the full EP. It's just those two songs.
Yeah.
So it's just okay. Let's just compare these two songs. But I don't know. I guess are you on the same page with me, or do you prefer that one? Because I know you like maybe more.
I don't know. I gotta say, I think if you remember when Boom Baya and Whistle came out, we really kind of, or at least me, I was very kind of stuck on this idea that this is 21 Part 2.
Right.
I wanted something fresher, but in the end, those songs were just high quality pop songs. Whistle is still like a jam. Boom Baya grew on me more and more too.
It actually did grow on me because if you remember, I was not
in
favor of that song.
And those songs were very much growers, and I at least knew that they were very interesting. These new ones, I don't know what love.
They were underwhelming.
They're just not. Yeah, I don't feel like they're at that same level to a point that they're coming off as remarkable as
there wasn't that pow factor with either of them, although you can make an argument that with Stay it's just a complete 180 for them. So I guess I can appreciate it for what it is. Whether or not fans think that sound fits them is another story.
Right.
I think after hearing Whistle and Boom Baya, Playing with Fire is very, very mediocre and underwhelming to me. I don't dislike it. I just don't know if I would particularly go out of my way to listen to that, select that on my playlist.
Yeah, specifically with that song. I dig the production. I like especially on the chorus. I really like, I don't know, it has this, it's very, 80s, it has this like sort of sense of melancholy on it
Mm-hmm.
too, which I really dig. But then I don't know, something about it just feels a little on the nose, like they're like, my love is on fire, burn baby burn.
Yeah.
It's just a little too on the nose,
Right.
and it's just, I don't know, it just kind of irks me a little bit, or not
It's a
irks me.
little. I think they made it a little bit too obvious and a little too. Here's everything on a platter.
Yes.
Playing with
Yeah.
fire. There's fire everywhere.
Burn,
Baby,
baby.
burn. It's just everything was a little too.
Yeah.
Came together a little too obviously.
It didn't have that Whistle, in my opinion, was more subtle with that.
It was a little. Yeah.
Obviously,
it
like,
was more intriguing and how
right.
how the concept came about.
Right. Like they weren't like, whistle to me, whistle to you.
Yeah.
Like the whistle was just sort of this back. It was almost like a second part of
I think the most they did was like I think Jenny said whistle to my heart.
Right.
But that wasn't that was just in passing. That was one line.
Yes, exactly. And it was almost like those all came together a little more, cleverly. This one just feels, and I think this is a lot of times, I think what a lot of people struggle with in K-pop is that sometimes the concept is a little too, wow, okay, like
right.
it's like
Sometimes less is more.
Right.
You
and,
can let us figure it out.
And I think YG artists in particular are very good at kind of holding back a little and making, the music.
There are more layers to it usually.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this one just felt, that might be a result of, Blackpink trying something new or trying to represent something new, but I don't know, something about it just, I was believe me, I was walking around, to my apartment, walking fierce to this song, like last night. But I don't know. It's just.
Yeah, I think it's good that they took elements of Boombaya, and you can hear that in this song.
Yes.
But it wasn't a full, obviously, replica of that song.
Right,
It's a very different song. But I think fans who liked Boombaya would appreciate this song.
I think so.
To an extent.
It's satisfying that side of things, of them being like, all the people who really dig the banger side of those things. They'll get it. I think they'll appreciate. I think it does the job.
Right.
I just don't think it was done as well as the first two singles.
Definitely.
But then when you look at, or continue, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I like the styling. I like
the
their
styling
outfits.
was nice. Oh yeah, they look great.
I wasn't a huge fan of the choreography because it was just so simple, and I don't know why they did that. It was just like it wasn't even choreography. It was just like flipping their wrists and.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah,
it's almost like why even have that? You could just not have it, and it wouldn't even take away from it.
Well,
it didn't add anything to it.
I like the little formations where they would kind of like get into lines and like go through,
or like
when
they'll
some will go
they'll
further.
like level down a little bit.
Yes,
Like
I think that's the right
Lisa
word.
will crouch down a little bit. I like that.
Those things are nice. I think I'm excited to see how it's brought to life on the stage. I'm hearing that they're gonna perform on more music shows this time. They're gonna
not just Inky.
No, I think they're gonna branch out. I think they added like one more or one or two more. So I'm excited to at least see it in different lights and things like that.
At least they won't be exhausted when they're limited to fewer programs, maybe.
Hopefully.
But did you like Stay?
Now Stay. Okay, so. Okay, I'm trying, like, once again, everything is always about context with K-pop,
yeah, it's
right?
all relative, right?
So
for sure.
I feel like this was a very YG move as well, like they did this with Winner. I feel like they did this with Icon. They kind of, they did it with a lot of their artists. I feel like they just kind of like go with this acoustic side of things, and it's like I think it's supposed to be like unexpected,
right?
And it's like, this is a nice song. Like, I think Rosé is has a really nice delivery on there.
Right, she does.
Like, she just sounds very much in her element. Yeah, it sounds very, but like sometimes I was just like, oh, the harmonica and like the la 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 la.
Yeah, like Kumbaya, let's skip around a campfire kind of vibe.
It's a little too much. Like, once again, like they were going for this
shove
like
it in your face.
Yeah, they're like this is a country, sing along, and it like
a country sing.
It just kind of like it's almost like they had this idea and they're like, how can we do this as like and once again it just kind of like felt a little too little too like done up to really
forced,
be, you know, that
they presented
slick.
it in like a pretty bow almost.
Yeah, like a little too much. Like it was a little right, but a bow that was a little too perfect, you know. And like that's not to say it's a bad thing per se, but it was just, you know, once again, I wasn't feeling that genuine, you know, love of like this is a cool song, you know, sort of thing. But you said you got more into it when you listened to the lyrics.
I think I just like to see groups channel their more kind of melancholy, darker side, a little bit more somber, dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
I just like more sentiment in my music. So I feel like at least the aesthetics of the song really match the video well. I really like, because the video is they're in this destitute lot area that clearly used to be full of life, used to be full of color, and now it just seems very somber. And granted, there's a nice filter on there where again I feel like I need to turn up the brightness on my screen.
This one I actually understood it though.
This one made a little bit more
I'm
sense.
like, okay, get it, you know. In the past we've been like, dang.
And maybe this is a personal preference, but I actually really like it when there are when you connect via text, and I liked all of the signage in the background. Some of it was obviously, the font's bigger, it's a bigger size, so it's more in your face, but it was never like the camera just only focused on one sign for that long of a few seconds. So I would pause and read, you know, the signs, and you know, they connected with the song in various ways, and I like that. And I remember Taeyeon for the 1 a.m. music video, he had that too, like the glowing neon signs in the background that wasn't ever thrown in your face, but you would obviously notice in the background. So I think YG seems to like doing that, you know, here and there.
Or they have someone who knows what they're, you know, what they're doing.
So, but I really did get that sense of nostalgia in the video, and I think nostalgia always, you know, connects well with listeners. So and I think between the two, this one definitely connected better with me and resonated with me better. But like you said, the harmonica and kind of, you know, let's hold hands and skip around and sing was a little bit too in your face. But I will say, at least I haven't heard the whole harmonica acoustic sound a whole lot. Definitely
not done in this way. You know.
So I like the song. I think it's nice. I think it's nice.
I guess, you know, I feel like this will be another grower. Like Whistle was like such a grower on me. And same with Boom Baya. But yeah, you know, I almost just feel like this is like, it feels very much like what, you know, a play, not a play, or like almost like a plea to be like, yes, there's more to this group. And, you know, it's a smart idea. You know, it's awesome to see that Rosé was playing guitar. And
I feel like she definitely was one of the shining members this comeback promotion round.
And you know, it's cool. Like, I think they're trying to, you know, if Jennie Kim, everyone thought she was gonna be the rapper, she's been singing like quite a lot on these songs. So I think there's a lot of like surprising things to be seen. I even think little Lisa was singing and things like that.
Because they have nice tone. I mean, they might not have the range as much as, you know, Rosé does, for example, but they have a nice tone once it's paired with the right production.
And so I think, you know, I'm mostly just glad that they didn't just debut and disappear, which I think, you know, lots of groups have struggles with. You know, I think a lot of fans are very critical of, you know, Winner and Icon kind of somewhat disappearing, you know, right after they, you know, had these really hot debuts. So, you know, Blackpink didn't get a full-length album like those boy bands did, but I think it's nice that they're back already.
They're definitely still on everyone's radar.
You know, they got such a big response, you know, in America at least, you know, just from like the sales of those albums or the singles and stuff like that. So I'm very curious to see how this all turns out.
Right.
You know, I'm glad to see their versatility. You know, it was interesting at the 21 show, or sorry, at the CL show, I mean, she sang a bunch of 21 songs. songs is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
She sang so many, and has clearly been working on her vocals because she sang like she was singing Bomb's parts and Minzy's parts, and I was like,
wow.
What the heck? This girl's been working on her vocals. Yeah. So I wonder if almost Blackpink is like, let's stick less to the rules of like, our parts, and like let's prepare for like, careers just as musicians.
Yeah,
so I don't know, it kind of made me think a little bit. But yeah. But yeah, that's Blackpink. Let us know what you guys think.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Overall, like, good job to the girls.
Yeah, good job, girls. Hopefully you'll be back even soon. Or hopefully it's a good promotion.
Yeah,
period.
I want them to do a full EP. That'd be dope.
Well, they did do this EP, but they just tacked on the old songs and then did a quote unquote acoustic version of Whistle, which just put
Oh, I actually haven't listened to the acoustic version. I'm a little perplexed. Like, who asked for a acoustic version of that song? Already is kind of like airy sounding a little bit in the background, so I don't know. So now is it just like strumming a guitar with whistling? I'm just very confused.
That's actually exactly what it is. And I don't think they re-recorded the vocals, to be honest.
Oh
so,
my God.
I don't know. We'll see. I wanted something cool. So.
Jeff with the very...
I don't think they did. No, I think you'll listen to it. And I think it's really obvious that they didn't re-record the vocals. Anyway, let's move on. Before we get ourselves in trouble with more girl groups. Who is on your list next, Tina?
Let's go with Bastarz of
yeah,
Block B.
Flip it up. Switch it up.
Yeah, they released this a few days ago.
Yeah.
I guess this is their comeback. They had a release, I think, last year.
Block B is and subunit.
Yes, their subunit, which consists of Yukwon, B-Bomb, and P.O.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's the song called? Oh, Make It Rain.
Make It Rain, baby.
And it's produced by one of our beloved artists, solo artist, Dean.
I know, listening to it, I was not expecting this.
I was not expecting this. I thought it was going to be more chill, more low-key.
Totally.
Not kind of channeling the whole, like, Narina era, where it's more electronic and a little bit more aggressive. It was very blaring, this song.
Well, this, to me personally, is like the Block B I remember, after they kind of went through the lawsuit and everything, and they came back with this really, in my opinion, like kind of hardcore hip hop, really in your face, very almost like theatrical.
Yeah.
But not in a hokey way, almost like just very dramatic. And like, do you remember like the Jackpot, video, or like?
I actually didn't like the releases post Narina.
Yeah, like because they were little.
I didn't like.
They're very aggressive,
It was almost just I wouldn't listen to this in normal settings. It's just I'm not on level 5,000.
Right, and that's what they were always at.
Like, I like their Welcome to the Block, the first couple releases where they had some more pop and, melodic songs happening. Right. So that wasn't the later years weren't my favorite. But, so that probably will give you an idea of
how you're feeling this
how
time.
I'm feeling about Make It Rain. I will say it grew on me. When I first heard it, I was like, oh no.
Oh, really?
This is not it for me. But I will say the chorus is what I probably don't like as much. The verses actually it's okay. I don't know. It's just for something that they promoted as, oh, Dean produced this. I expected something different and more Dean-like.
Yeah, I was totally expecting, woozy, whatever, like more.
Production-wise, there was nothing different about this for me.
And that's the thing, too, is that, if you remember, this was one of a very early episode of K-Stop, which launched in February, if you can imagine. But,
oh, yeah.
but, Block B came out at the top of the year with the it was Blooming? That was the name of the EP.
Blooming was
and then Toy
CM
was
Blue.
the single. Or this was Toy, right?
Right, Toy.
Block B did Toy.
What was the name of the EP?
I don't know. Why am I being drawn to maybe it was something about a flower. I'm remembering some type of flower imagery. We could look it up. But
yeah, I'm like blanking right now. But I could swear Blooming was CM Blue.
Yeah, or maybe like it was like a different I really can't remember. I swear like there was something with flowers or something, but it was oh, it was Blooming Period.
Blooming
And then C and
Period.
Blue was the Blooming EP, I think. But it was like
Right.
blue, like
Right,
BLUE.
right. Oh, okay,
I
yeah.
remember.
Yeah, I
It's all
remember. I
coming
remembered.
back.
It's all coming back to me now.
So here we so but anyway, I was almost thinking like, okay, I get it because Block B got the their sensual or the more low key side
Mhm.
out on with Toy and things like that. And if you remember, I think Bastarz had a song on the EP that was the more turn up hip
Oh,
hop
right,
jam,
right,
and I remember like us talking about that and saying like, oh yeah, like that's like a
right.
throw to like this hip hop side. And this just kind of feels like once again like the Block B Bastarz that's not trying to lose that side of things.
Right. And when you see the members, those three members, they're all a bit more turn up, dance,
Yeah.
good vibes, good time.
Right, which is not they're definitely satisfying that side of things,
Hmm.
which is not a bad thing at all. Even if it's not totally our style.
Right. And the song is it's a bravado track. The whole thing is
Yes.
just we get money.
Yeah.
We're veterans. Y'all
Right.
rookies better watch out. Like know your place.
Yeah.
It's a bravado heavy track, and I think that came across. I think conceptually and sonically that definitely came across. It's just maybe not my personal
Yeah.
style.
Yeah, and it definitely worked. They kind of had this almost Joker look at
Yes,
times,
yeah.
which I did, I appreciated for what it was, even if it was, yeah, a little aggressive in your
Hmm.
face, things like that. It's like it's definitely cool. It definitely satisfies a certain niche of like that sort of intense hip hop side of things that
Right.
lots of K-pop fans do enjoy,
Right.
and it's worked for them in the past.
And it was
Um,
also a bit quirky. The video had it kind of ties into, we didn't talk about the first release, which was I think an intro pre-release
yeah,
for
right.
what's the name? Was it like Beautiful
It was Selfish and
Strange?
Beautiful.
Oh, Selfish Girl or
Yeah.
something. And that whole thing was a video game, and this had elements of that digital world video game kind of come in toward
Oh.
the end, so that kind of tied together at least visually for me.
Right, Selfish and
But I
Beautiful girl.
think, yeah, I think the video, the art direction, the creative direction of the video was also a bit out there, kind of
Yeah.
quirky. Didn't really know how I felt about it at first.
Right. I
I
enjoyed.
don't dislike it. I get it. I get the concept.
Yeah, and I enjoyed the face tattoos. I enjoyed, what we were seeing. Like it wasn't trying to. It was very raw, and that's cool. It's very like
Yeah.
very much like into that.
Yeah.
World. Even if it's not. I get what they were going for. It's definitely. If anything, this is almost like a play to make sure that like that side of the fan base stays intact,
Stays intact.
which is
That's true.
smart. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like smart business move.
And I kind of scanned through the rest of the EP, and
Yeah.
they had some more mellow mid tempo
Oh, really?
tracks on there that
I'm gonna have to check those out.
you might like if you didn't particularly care for this track.
Yeah.
I am surprised though that the more turn uppy song on the album was produced by Dean. So
I know. Oh, right. I think we were just kind of like very, very surprised about
although
it. Also.
you was it Yuquan? Yeah, Yuquan's verses
Mhm.
on the song, his voice sounded like Dean's for a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like an auto-tuned Dean a little bit. So
I
that was
wonder
interesting.
What that's about.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Well.
yeah, definitely the album's. Well, I was about to say it's on Spotify. You don't use Spotify. Never mind. It's on
Yet,
Spotify.
yeah. It's also on Apple Music.
Of course, it's on
The
Apple
better
Music.
one.
Oh my gosh!
But
better
yeah.
for K-pop releases. That's true.
Yeah, but Spotify's getting up there. They're bringing it back.
Yeah,
They're doing
trying.
it. Yeah. So Block B Bastarz, where and like it's cool. I last thing I'll say about this is that like it's good that this subunit seems to be a thing that they're just not. It doesn't seem to be a throwaway thing. Like last year,
Oh,
Block B
right.
didn't come back, I don't think, but Bastarz did. They did release that
Right.
unit. It's back again. Like it's. I think it's kind of. They're showing that this isn't just some like random thing to
Yeah,
keep people
yeah.
busy. So, I'm a fan. Block B Bastarz. Let us know what you guys think.
Yeah.
Hashtag KStop. Hit us up on Twitter. All of it.
Did we give our handles yet?
Oh no, we
You
haven't.
forgot this
I forgot this
so
part.
far.
Yes.
Okay.
At I am Jeff__Benjamin.
And I'm Hey_Tina with 3 A's.
Yes, you can leave comments on Fuse.tv. We have a playlist of all the songs. You can vote for your favorite comeback or your favorite release of the week. Do it all everywhere. It's on iTunes. We're on Stitcher. Everywhere.
Yes. And last but not least,
This
is more of a last minute release just in time for this week's episode, or our recording at least.
Yes.
One of our favorite solo artists, I would say, Taeyeon of Girls' Generation, surprised fans with a digital release single.
Yeah.
Called 1111.
Yes.
And released the music video as well. And this comes after this comes after which was a huge hit with us in particular. And then of course she released her second EP, solo EP Y, which had Starlight and Y as the lead singles, which I think we both liked as well. Me more than Jeff, I think, maybe.
Still listen to Y like all the time.
Yeah, no, that EP was amazing. So I did not expect her to come back with another release so quickly.
Yeah.
And this one is very, very Taeyeon-esque in the sense of when you think Taeyeon, you think ballad, soft, angelic, demure.
Right.
And this really is all of that. Except it's very sad as well. The song 1111, I think everyone kind of assumed that it was about making a wish, something hopeful. No, the song's actually very sad. But it is very, very kind of, if anybody listened to Ryan Cabrera's True, it's very much like that, like acoustic pop.
Good connection.
Very slow, very mellow.
Yeah. Tell me about the lyric, or tell us about the lyrics.
The lyrics, they are about I think the end of a relationship where she's just trying to move on.
Yeah.
And I got like very rough translations, so they're not completely accurate, but the general like takeaway from it is that, you know, she's hoping to get over this person, and 1111 is more referring to the time right before the end of a day, and I guess in this sense right before the end of a relationship, and I guess she's just coming to terms with it, is my takeaway. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. Well, I think it's and then, you know, even like the English line where she's like, you know, what's she saying? She's like, I believe I'll be over you.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
Yeah. So
and she opens with 1111 in English.
Yeah.
And so
It's
I'm
11:11.
almost hoping she does an English version or something, but I think the song was written and produced by American writers.
I think it was too, because I saw, and you know, I saw someone on Twitter, you know, saying like, oh, you know, thanks so much Taeyeon for doing such a good job with my song. You know, I'm seeing their names are, according to colorcodedlyrics.com, saying Christian Vinten and Chelsea Grimes. And I think Chelsea Grimes might have shared something like, this was such a personal song or something like that on Twitter. Right. And, you know, was really happy seemingly with the results. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see, like how this song kind of came about and things like that. Yeah.
So what did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, I did, you know, I liked the feel of it. It almost seems like, I don't know, I have this like weird theory that when Taeyeon has black hair or like dark hair, she's like in a darker place than like when she has like blonde hair. This might just be some weird fan thing I'm, you know, read once and believe, but I
will say it invokes a bit of mystery and maybe a bit of somberness in there. She definitely channeled her inner Tiffany. I feel like her whole look was very Tiffany-esque. She even looked like her in a lot of angles. She has recently started looking more and more like Tiffany.
That never occurred to me.
Really? I think she looks so like in certain angles with her hair. Like obviously hair and makeup does a lot to change a person's appearance. I dig this vibe. It's very, I mean, the whole look and sound is very fall.
It's very fall.
Autumn, somber.
You
know,
times are changing.
Yeah.
For better or for worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. And there were a lot of like really gorgeous moments on the song and the video, you know. Like I agree, this was maybe something that, if this was what was to be expected from like Taeyeon solo stuff, like she finally did it after sending us all these different curveballs, which isn't this at this point is not a bad thing.
Right.
Like I think it was good. It was really good. And I'll definitely I feel like this is just sort of something chill that you can put on in the morning, at night, hanging out, whatever. It's works in a lot of different scenarios, which I really like.
It was interesting to hear her do a song where she didn't fully utilize her range. She really did hold back because it's that type of song.
Right.
But no, I was surprised that she did something so sad.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to be Dean in the video again, damn it.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Right?
Dean's too busy making turn-up jams.
I think, whatever. I think they vibe together really well.
Where has Dean been? Speaking of which.
Dean, he's been working with Anderson .Paak, partying, doing other shit. I think he's prepping the comeback for his new album, so
we're ready for
eagerly anticipate that.
Yeah.
But
was that tattoo real on her?
I don't know.
Arm?
I don't know why they would add that just for like aesthetic purposes. Right. But then I also don't expect Taeyeon to have a tattoo, but it is a subtle tattoo.
Yeah.
So. Hyoning has a tattoo, right?
Yeah. So. when have I last seen like Taeyeon's arms exposed?
That's
I'm like,
true.
I don't know, but
yeah,
I thought it was a pretty tattoo,
right?
For sure.
But I think she did a good job of kind of really invoking a sense of helplessness and then kind of acceptance in the video.
Definitely a new side of her musically, as a musician, as a solo musician,
right.
Because if the other songs were her kind of finding different ways to empower herself or whatever, this was almost like this sad side, like she's drinking, right. She's feeling hopeless, she's laying on a beach, right. In my opinion that kind of it like brings out the idea of very washed away in your sadness, right, and kind of like a depression.
She's a lot more open on this release, which I really like.
So I think it's a nice look for her for sure.
Taeyeon, can you do no wrong?
Can you do no wrong? I mean,
no, she has quickly become one of my favorite
really?
K-pop solo artists for sure.
Hey.
And I never thought I'd say that because she was never like a top 3 member of Girls' Generation for me.
Really?
Nope.
Who was?
Hyoyoung, Yuri, and Sohyung.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Sohyung.
Underrated, but yeah,
actually no, Tiffany was up there too. I think Tiffany was tied for like number 1 with Hyoyoung.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was, but yeah, no girls. I caught your subtle, but no Girls' Generation comeback this year. Which is kind of interesting. No comeback from them or FX.
They've been doing a lot of station stuff.
Yeah,
they've all been doing individual things.
Right, which I think is kind of interesting. Yeah. But, ideally, Crissle said, maybe at the top of the year, next year for FX. Nothing, on Girls' Generation. But instead we got 2 Taeyeon releases, or 3 if you can consider Rain.
I'm not mad.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting moment. If you remember when we did that anniversary thing, I remember we were talking to Soy and Dylan, who love Girls' Generation, and they were saying maybe they'll do more solo stuff, maybe less releases together.
Dylan must be happy, although I don't know if he likes slower songs, but Dylan was all about Taeyoung's eye. Right. So maybe we'll check in with him. Yeah, we'll see how he's doing. But let us know what your guys' favorite release was, if it was Taeyeon, B Bastarz, or Blackpink. Who gets your vote this week? Taeyeon, yeah. Oh, I knew it. I was gonna predict. Honestly, I can't say that this has been like my favorite episode in terms of releases. I'll probably say Blackpink though. If just for Love Is on Fire, like making me
feel some kind of way.
Aw, that's fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
So that's what our votes for.
Wow, Jeff was not impressed this week.
I really wasn't. I'm sorry.
Like for him to pick Blackpink after saying like in his entire critique. That was kind of me last week though. So,
yeah, so sorry everyone. But definitely vote on who your guys' favorites are and let us know what you think. Moving on. Quickly, let's get into some charts. If you guys remember, we're currently in an October chart battle, even though October is officially over, where we chose different artists based on who was scheduled to come back in October, and we were going to see if they had songs in the top 5 K-pop chart on US iTunes to see who and every person got a point if they were on their team. If you guys remember, we did this in April. So real quick, the teams were for this month were Tina had on Team Tina. It was Crush, Sex Keys, Blackpink, Mamamoo, Ailey, and Sandul, and Tiara. On Team Jeff, it was Shiny, IOI, Girls' Day, Twice, Super Junior, NCT, and Monsta X. And currently, I'm blowing the competition away. I have 8 points. Tina has 3 points.
Oh.
And here we go. Oh, and no one got to choose BTS because they were doing too well.
And a bunch of my people didn't even come back.
I know. Let's see who
leaving me hanging here.
Like who didn't come back? Like Girls' Day didn't come back for me. Mamamoo didn't come back for you.
Tiara
didn't come back for you. NCT Super Junior didn't come back for me. Yeah.
Boo.
Sad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I thought for a second I might have had one more artist than you, but I don't. I was like, the results have been ruined. So, quick caveat about this week's chart. It looks like they're not classifying Blackpink as K-pop. Because I see them in the top 5 of the dance music section, which means I'll count it for you, okay, Tina? Because if you look at the dance section, number 1 is Closer by Chainsmokers and Halsey. Number 2 is Let Me Love You by Justin Bieber. Big songs, by the way. So at number 5 is Playing with Fire by Blackpink. Number 6 is Don't Let Me Down by the Chainsmokers. Number 7 is Stay. So I'm going to assume that those songs would be in the top 5 for the K-pop release.
That's
so I'm going to give you 2 points.
Is that just a clerical error or what?
I wonder. Well, if you remember too, for some reason BTS also wasn't in. They were in the hip hop. So I wonder if they're selling too well or something like that.
Huh.
But in any case,
Yay!
You also get another point.
I'll take what I can get.
Because Whistle is number 5 on the K-pop chart. That means another point for Tina.
What am I up to now?
So now it's
5?
You're at 6.
Oh,
it's 8 to 6. So number 4, no one had Block B on their team, but Block B Make It Rain is number 4.
Okay.
And number 3 is VIX's new single, The Closer.
Okay.
Which you guys should check out if you haven't seen yet. Number 2, It's Like TT. Just like TT. So I get another point, putting me up to 9. And then number 1 is Hey Mama by EXO, CBX, the first EXO subunit.
That was number 1, really?
Yeah, people are digging that one, Tina.
All
but
right.
I'd be kind of curious to see how Blackpink would have done if, on the K-pop, but I can't really.
So 8 to 6, that means I lost.
9 to 6, sorry.
9 to 6, sorry.
Yep,
right.
And as we know,
effort.
It was a the final what was it? The prize was a bottle of soju. So I'm very much.
Do you prefer the traditional flavor where there's no flavor, or do you prefer like peach, grapefruit?
Ooh,
like the
I didn't even know that they had like things like peach.
Yes, you do. Peach is like the most popular soju flavor.
I'm trying to remember I don't know if I drank it in Korea.
They're so tasty that you just drink it.
Perfect.
All right, I feel like
do
you
me
like
a really fun
things,
flavor.
So I'll probably just bring peach.
All right.
Yeah.
Do something fun. Yeah.
All right.
But so now we're like even with our alcohol gifts because you won April and I got you a red wine,
I got that
which you
wine.
enjoyed.
It was very good.
So I can't wait.
Yes. All right.
And then last but not least, we'll get to our deep cut topic, which not the happiest topic. Because I think both of us are kind of like, feeling this one in particular. Um, B.A.P is getting ready for a comeback for November. And it is called, it's called, or it's gonna be a full, it's their second full length album coming out
It's
November
like
7th. I think
noir
it's
or
called
something.
Noir. Yes, exactly. Um, but the leader, Bang Youngguk, is not going to be joining the album promotions, and this is due to health issues. Okay, so TS Entertainment, their label, put out this statement, earlier, a little bit. I think it was late last week, and the statement. Well, I just want to read it. This is a translation coming from Soompi. Shout out to Soompi, saying this is what they said. They said, we want to thank everyone for the support prior to the release of B.A.P's second studio album. We hate to impart bad news, but leader Bang Youngguk recently visited the hospital due to health problems and was diagnosed with panic disorders. As a result, Bang Youngguk and the members decided that the group would continue with promotions with just 5 members, as the first priority is Bang Youngguk's recovery. While B.A.P is promoting, Bang Youngguk will be focusing on receiving professional treatment and getting better. And this album is the product of a lot of hard work. They said Bang Youngguk also, he worked a lot creatively on the album,
Hmm.
but this is just a big bummer in my opinion
I
to
think it's a big
hear.
blow to the group, just not only to lose their leader, but
Yeah,
just to also not be able to promote with one of your most popular members.
sure, yeah,
It'll just be a very different energy.
for sure. And at the same time too, though, the reason I kind of wanted to bring this up and like talk about it in particular is that this is kind of another. I think in the past, if K-pop was sort of quiet about why certain members weren't joining, or there was kind of always these very vague reasons in the past, I think a lot of times we'd hear exhaustion, or we'd hear health problems,
Right.
something very vague. This is very specific about
Right.
panic disorders. And I was reading things about he's been dealing with anxiety and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Mental health is a very complicated but specific thing to
Right.
mention. And we did talk about something. It's apples and oranges, but oh my girl and Ginny, when she dropped out of promotions due to eating disorder.
Right.
Once again, I feel like these companies are just kind of being a little more open and letting the general public and fans into what specifically these people are dealing with, which I
Mm-hmm.
think is kind of remarkable and very interesting.
Right. Especially in a society that where I would say uh keeping face or
Uh
like not
huh.
losing
Uh
face
huh.
is extremely important, and
Yeah.
not trying to come off as weak. It is a more of a conservative traditional point of view, and
Right.
even in our society mental health is not addressed properly in most cases,
No.
and it's people make jokes out of it. It's not
Yeah.
taken as a real form of illness, which it is.
Right.
So it is refreshing to see TS Entertainment take this stance and just being extremely open with fans about it, um, and to not either, heaven forbid, like A, force him to do it anyway,
Yeah.
or B, postpone the comeback, because that would A, or what am I saying? The former would hurt their um
Yeah.
would hurt Youngguk, whereas the latter would anger fans.
Right.
So they kind of, not only are they supporting
Yeah.
Youngguk, they are also saying, "Hey, we would still love to have BAP come back, and
Yeah.
we hope that you continue to support them," because Youngguk still had a huge creative,
Hmm.
part in the creation of this album.
Right. And exactly, exactly. You brought up so many good points here. We're even seeing like what, a big story in music world and here in America has been Kid Cudi, kind of
Right.
bringing to light his mental health issues, and
Right.
then someone like Drake who was, poking fun at it, and has kind of caused this feud in and of
Mm-hmm.
themselves. And mental health is definitely stigmatized, in any context, whether you're a celebrity, whether you're a regular person,
Right.
and it's unfortunate that something like this is that's still the case.
Mm-hmm.
But I really got to applaud them for kind of coming straight out and saying, this is what is going on.
Right.
And and saying it in a way that, putting it in that same light of if he injured his foot or if he, something that is very obviously going to hinder someone from being able to perform. If you break your foot, you're not going to be able to perform. If you whatever, once again, it's kind of putting on that same playing level. And I really respect and applaud that.
Right.
And
Not,
also, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, no. Like, and also like to what you were saying too, not putting him out there, seeing how he deals, and then maybe pulling him, from the promotions.
Which is like, who did that before? There was was it Oh My Girl that did that?
Well, in my opinion, that almost read a little bit like, we knew she was dealing with this,
right?
And then
but we just wanted to test it in case,
yeah.
Because I feel like that's the overall approach to mental illness.
Yeah.
Why can't you work through it? Why can't you just feel happier?
Right.
Why can't you just pop some vitamin D pills, go take a walk, and call your mom and then have a nice chat and you'll feel better. Like, no, this is, a lot of it is physiological too. Some people, they don't have like whatever, like norepinephrine levels or something, like they just naturally like in like what's happening in their brains, it's not 100%
balanced.
Exactly. There's an imbalance there.
Right, which is not that's not the result of this person being ungrateful or being one thing or the other thing. And that's what I think is kind of really, I am 100% sure but that Youngguk is not the first K-pop star to be dealing with anxiety.
In that kind of high stress, cutthroat industry.
Right.
I'm sure so many people have suffered from this, but they either feel ashamed to admit it, or their company's like, no, we invested so much in you.
Right.
Either way, they would feel horrible for hindering anyone's success for their own like recovery, which is necessary.
And we said this about Jinny too. She is certainly not the first K-pop star to have a eating disorder. Just and I just I think it's really just a very refreshing and if anything, hopefully it kind of almost sends an additional signal to just the K-pop community that these are real issues that whether that's the fans or the fellow stars or the other companies, that like these are things that need to be addressed and issued, and we are taking the time to do that because we care. I think it shows that they care, and I think B.A.P had issues in the past with this company, managing them. So maybe this was part of, this was a big part of that, being like, if someone needs this mental break or if someone needs, to take time off, you need to give that to us or else we're not going to be able to continue, the way you want us to.
Oh, for sure. I think TS Entertainment, like, they also had a lot to consider and weigh when making this decision.
Right.
But it's been nice to see that not only have his bandmates and fans been supportive, and his older brother spoke out.
Oh, really?
Saying like,
that's
please,
great.
like, thank you for all the kind messages, but please just continue to support the release on November 7th.
Yeah.
That will really ease his mind and make him feel better as he seeks treatment and attention, and tries to get back to a better place in his head.
Right. And Bang Youngguk, he writes, he produces, he's definitely there as a musician as much as he is a performer. And so I do think, I 100% believe when I hear things like that yes, like people consuming what he created and what he worked on could help in those ways, because I think he does put part of himself in like the music and things like that. And I know this band is important to this group, and they wouldn't have stuck together if it wasn't important like this. So I just think I've been kind of like playing around with this idea in my head, almost maybe writing something about 2016 might have been the year K-pop kind of like got healthier, or like people started being more open about what they were dealing with. There's probably still a lot that isn't being brought to light, and people still feel stigmatized about and want to talk about but can't for whatever company, personal, whatever pressures, family pressures. But I think this is once again another step in the right direction. And I'm not happy to hear that someone is dealing with panic disorders. Of course not. I'm not happy to hear someone's dealing with an eating disorder. But I'm happy to hear that they're at least being open and talking and at least inspiring an important
I mean,
discussion.
Awareness takes small steps. It's not an overnight thing.
No.
And especially in a more conservative society like that of which Korea has, this is huge for them. And we can only hope for a speedy recovery from Youngguk.
We're rooting for you.
We're excited for Noir's release.
Yes, very excited.
I'm very intrigued to see how the dynamic is on stage and how fans, receive the release, and hopefully everything is smooth and they do well.
Yes, exactly.
And that can only help alleviate his anxiety.
Let's hope, right? Let's hope. I'm really curious what people do think about this, and I think it's an important thing to talk about and get on discussion. So please send us some comments if you guys, we know B.A.P is one of particularly one of the bigger fans,
for sure,
in America, where a majority of our listeners are coming in from. But shout out to everyone who's listening around the world. We love you.
Thank you for listening week after week.
Yes.
Or if you are new to the show, please check out our earlier episodes. We've probably talked about one of your favorite artists.
Yes. Everything's on iTunes. Everything's on, fuse.tv/KStop. We make it very easy for you. Listen up, people, because send us comments anytime. #KStop. Hit us up on Twitter. We're all over the place. So, as always, if that wraps everything up, which I think it does.
Yes, very jam-packed episode.
So
hopefully you've been listening along. You enjoyed this week's episode. Please tune in next week as well. We'll be back every Wednesday, new episode.
Woohoo! Every Wednesday. Good point. Every Wednesday. Yes, we pop up in your iTunes every Wednesday. So thanks, guys. We'll see you next Wednesday as always, this has been Jeff.
And this is Tina.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.